Hello everyone, my name is Derek and welcome to the Netflix Knowhow, the review show here to help you stop browsing and start watching. Today we have Stitches, a horror comedy film about a killer clown who stalks a bunch of children and murders them to death. Why does that sound familiar? So Stitches is a clown who is accidentally killed by a bunch of bratty little kids while performing for them at a birthday party. Fast forward 6 years and that same group of kids has now decided to throw a Sweet 16 birthday party, which just so happens to be the first party that they've thrown since accidentally murdering Stitches. It's a big party, everyone's invited, and everyone shows up to have a great time, including Stitches, who magically rises from the grave and shows up at the party to join in the festivities with a delightfully gory sense of humor. You'll notice that I used the word gory there. I'm not entirely sure gory is strong enough of a word for this. I have to say, I was definitely not expecting to see that much blood going into this movie. Or brains. Or intestines. Basically what I'm saying is there's a lot of insides ending up on the outside here. It's pretty sweet. It looks like most of the gore effects done in this movie were done practically, which means they're super slimy and stretchy and just kinda gross looking all around, and that's perfect because that's exactly the way it should be done. On top of that, each character gets a death that is really wonderfully creative and fun, and they're really specific to how they contributed to Stitch's death at the beginning of the movie, and I have to say, the filmmakers had so much fun killing off these characters. It's not exactly an easy feat to make me feel squirmy and kind of uncomfortable while also laughing my butt off watching these characters die, and they did a great job of capturing both of those feelings in me. There's actually a scene where Stitches uses one of the victims that he killed as sort of a makeshift puppet, and the way he does it is just so funny and unexpected. And all of the deaths are like that, it's great. The movie as a whole is actually really funny. Stitches has a bundle of fantastic one-liners, and there's just all these really dumb gags and jokes that you wouldn't think would work, but for whatever reason, they just work really well here. The filmmakers really dedicate themselves to this and they just stick with it, and it's hilarious. It's definitely a funnier movie than it is scary, but they're also trying to capture that campy B horror movie style and feel, and I think they did a very good job of that. I also appreciate that the film tried to give every character a little more depth and development than maybe a movie in this sort of genre might usually do, even if the end result did come up just a bit short. The main character, who is actually the one primarily responsible for killing Stitches in the beginning of the film, is very clearly traumatized by what happened to him, and he has all sorts of mental problems going on. But it's really cool that they give subtle little hints to show that the other characters who are at the party are also not doing too hot themselves, even if they act like they're doing just fine. Some of them have turned to alcohol, some of them rely on food to help them cope, some of them just put on like this mean tough guy facade to sort of drown out how messed up they are on the inside, and it's kind of interesting to see that. I actually really wanted to see more of that. I wanted to see more of what was going on inside their head and what had happened in the 6 years in between, but I mean, that's really not the point of the movie. It was all about the gore effects. So I guess I'll take, slightly more developed characters than just simple cardboard cutouts any day of the week. And the editing. Oh my god, the editing is great. It seems like the filmmakers are pretty heavily influenced by Edgar Wright, and if you haven't seen any of Edgar Wright films, I highly recommend going and watching all of them because they're all great. But anyway, you can see here that there's just this very creative sense of energy and intensity and just fun just with the edits and transitions. I don't want to spoil too much of the transitions that happen because it's really cool to see them without expecting them, but let's just say that there's a really good one in there that probably will make you not want to eat eggs for at least a month, and you'll know it when you see it. The film really does have just a wonderful sense of energy and creativity and passion throughout all of it. And then you get to the end and the whole thing just kind of falls apart. The movie had all this wonderful tension and momentum and just so many things built up towards the end, and the bodies were piling up, the death count was getting higher and higher. And then when we get to the third and final act, the big climax, it just turns into a freaking wild goose chase without any purpose. It's almost as if the filmmakers were trying to construct a really elaborate and cool balloon animal, and then they were getting close to the end, but they were also getting really frustrated because it was taking so long, so then they just kind of shoved it all together right at the end, and it came out awful. I'm not saying it's a terrible balloon animal, I'm just saying that nobody wants a balloon Cthulhu with 4 of his face tentacles messed up. So yes, the ending, not very good. But the rest of the movie is so much fun that I feel like it really makes up for it. It's funny, it's gory, it exceeded all of my expectations, and if you're lucky, maybe it will even pull a bloody coin straight out of your ear. Everybody happy? Thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Don't really have a whole lot of announcements today. I know that I mentioned that I'm going to try and start posting multiple times in a week, and I haven't really been able to do that just yet. Just bear with me. I have a lot going on in my life right now, but as soon as I'm able to do that, I'm going to do that. I have a lot of stuff that I need to get through, so don't worry, you're not gonna have any shortage of variety and things for me to share with you. Anyway, you guys can always head on over to Facebook, head on over to Twitter, follow me on those if you want. And as always, if you want to know your flicks, you know where to click. Happy hunting, guys. See you next week.